I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I've been so busy. Every morning in my journal, I complete the sentence, I feel. And recently, 80 to 90% of the time, it's been, I feel exhausted. Sounds familiar? So when my company did a 4-day energy tracking program, I said, sign me up, baby! This video is basically my experience of wearing the First Beat HRV tracker 24/7, almost. Call it a video diary of what I did over those 4 days, but more importantly, how what I did affected my stress or relaxation responses, affecting my energy levels throughout the day. I'll take you through the introduction we had of this program, then the 4 days of tracking, what I did, and any notable points of what I discovered. So much data! Collecting the data is one thing, but what are you gonna do with all this data when you have it? That's where Lika and her team at the Onewave Agency come in. They work with companies using the First Beat HRV tracker. After the tracking period, they sit down with each individual to coach you through your results and figure out where throughout the day or night you could be changing up what you're doing or how you're doing it in order to better help you manage your energy levels throughout the day. Basically pointing out your blind spots. I'll link to them below in the description if you want to work with them too. This video is not sponsored, I just love what they do. I'll also sum up the final session with my coach about my results and what I'm going to do to better manage my energy. Of course, everyone's energy levels is so individual depending on your work, environment, rest, nutrition, lifestyle, even your life stage. And ladies, also where you are in your menstrual cycle. So there's a lot of factors to consider. What works for me might not work for you. I'm just some random person on the internet and this is my user experience. Maybe you'll find this helpful, or maybe it helps spark something in you to consider how what you're doing or not doing could be affecting your energy levels too. Enough talking, let's get into it. The program starts with an intro talk that explains what to expect over the next few days and how to track.
I really like to start with a small question, and that's what is your motivation for this program?
An HRV tracker is a device that tracks your heart rate variability or the time between each heartbeat. The higher your HRV or the greater variability between heartbeats usually means the body has a strong ability to tolerate stress or is recovering well from previously accumulated stress. Basically, it means we're looking for a high HRV as a sign of good health. We get a pack that includes the device and a bunch of electrodes, regular, sensitive, and for sports. One gets stuck on your right side, the other gets stuck on your left side. It can't get wet, so when I'm in the shower, sauna, or steam room, I can't track my HRV. This is linked by Bluetooth to the First Beat app on my iPhone, and after pairing, tracking begins. Green means my rest and recovery periods or my parasympathetic nervous system is active. Red means my stress response or my sympathetic nervous system is in action. Blue shows when I'm active, and gaps are basically when I've taken the tracker off. And that's it really. Day 1 begins, it's on a Wednesday, and I started after my morning routine of meditation and journaling as I try to figure out how to get the electrodes on. It's actually pretty easy really. I chose the ones for sensitive skin to start with, and then I cycled to the GP or my house doctor. You can see that showing up as exercise in the blue graph. Surprisingly, there was no stress nor relaxation at the doctor's. Then I cycled to the office. I'm an executive producer in a creative agency and I shoot commercials. But right now I'm wrapping up a project, so it's not crazy busy. It's a lot of admin and reconciling budgets.
Morning!
Hi there, good morning!
Luckily, it's not a long day today, so I headed to the gym. I need to change out the electrodes from the sensitive to the sports version. Ta-da! The program requires a 30-minute walk on flat terrain to use as a baseline, so I figured an easy treadmill session could work. I head to the steam room after, but since the tracker can't get wet, sadly I can't tell if I got relaxed in the steam room. I made myself a nice healthy dinner. The day ends with some sofa chilling and then reading in bed. Day 2. It's Thursday. I got a good amount of sleep last night, but our 2 cats started meowing between 5 and 7 a.m. and you can see the red spikes in between my sleep. I'm amazed I got 8 hours and 41 minutes of sleep, by the way. This is not indicative of how much sleep I usually get when I'm in the middle of production. I start my workday working from home. More boring expenses and reconciliations, but then I'm able to wrap up work for a bit and work on an upcoming YouTube video. I'm shooting and recording a Yoga Nidra meditation video, so I need to get my face together. Sometimes I'm a few weeks ahead with my videos, but as I just finished a really busy production, then I got COVID and was recovering last week, I'm cutting it close this week with my next video upload. Welcome. We break for lunch and Yella, my boyfriend, is also working from home today, so we have a nice easy lunch together of banana pancakes. Yes, pancakes for lunch, made of oats so they're gluten-free. After lunch I have another work meeting for my producing job, but then I go back to recording the rest of my meditation video. Managing a full-time, full-on job while trying to stay consistent with weekly video uploads means I need to be super organized with my time and often work in time blocks. I think it helps that as a producer, I have to multitask, and even though context switching, where you're switching between different tasks, is not the most efficient for mental energy, I find working in 1 to 2 hour time blocks helps. The workday is over and now the fun begins. Yella and me meet a friend and we head to a 20-course omakase dinner. This place is amazing. They only serve 10 people in a night and it's run by a 25-year-old chef.
So first tea pairing for tonight.
Who served course after course of the best sushi and sashimi. I think one of my faves was this drunken prawn. Raw prawn soaked in salmon egg juice, flavored with katsuboshi, sansho, and matcha powder. So many fresh spring flavors like wasabi flowers and sansho. We spent 4 hours at dinner.
Scallops.
Yella and Sant drank quite a bit. I'm allergic to alcohol, so I had some kombucha and green tea mocktails. You'll see I was cycling through relaxation and stress responses throughout dinner. After such a big meal, I think I'm going to struggle to sleep tonight. Let's see.
There's plenty more.
Day 3. It's Friday. Turns out I had surprisingly good sleep, except for when the cats start meowing in the morning again. My day starts with meditation and journaling as it does every day. This is part of my daily morning routine, and I'm happy to report that every day, meditation and journaling have been showing up as green, so they're relaxed events for me. That's good to know. I head to the gym and do a HIIT training from the Nike NTC app. It's one of my favorite workout apps that's free. I'll link to it below. I'm not gonna lie, it felt a little bit weird initially in the gym with these electrodes, but no one really cared or gave me a second look, so it's all good. After training, I did a short 5-minute sauna session without the tracker, and then I headed to treat myself to a nice breakfast. Gotta get the protein in. I had a coffee meeting and then continued to work from here. I'm really enjoying this choice we have today of being able to not only work in the office, but also at home and remotely. Depending on what I need to get done, sometimes it helps me when I switch up my environment. Since I'm on a roll, I decided to stick around and have lunch here. Then I figured, why not just start editing the video I shot yesterday? And it turns out editing is also quite the relaxing event for me. The The workday is over and I head out to meet Yella for a quick dinner. Oh dear, it's another heavy dinner of pasta and pizza, but it's so satisfying though. We're on our way to a gig tonight, so we grabbed something fast and easy. Rai is playing at the Milk Bag, and this is honestly the first gig I've been to in 2 years since the lockdown. I'm still getting used to being around people, and so many people at that, so yeah, this was kind of stressful, even if Rai's gorgeous voice is soothing and his music is pretty chill. I have to say, I'm not usually this social. Going out so often in a week, I guess I'm making up for the past 2 years. Day 4. Good morning, Saturday. It's the weekend. It's not really a chill day for me as I teach 2 yoga classes on Saturdays. So Saturday mornings are usually when I think through what I want to focus on for today's core power and yin yoga classes. I head to the yoga studio ahead of my classes, and I really love this place. Coming from Singapore and now living in Amsterdam, I really miss the heat, so hot yoga is where I get my sweat on. At Equal Yoga, the core power class I teach is more dynamic, so no wonder it shows up as exercise on my chart. Then I take a short break in between where I set up for teaching Yin Yoga, which is a slowed down, more meditative style of yoga, which also works on mobility, stretching out the muscles. This is my first love and my favorite class to teach of the week. Surprisingly, this shows up as stress in my chart, even though I felt really chilled out and relaxed during and after class. After teaching, I tend to give myself a break for the rest of the day, because this is when my weekend begins. I had a long night's sleep, and again, like clockwork, the cats start meowing to begin yet another day. So that was pretty much a snapshot of 3 work days during the week and 1 weekend day. At the end of tracking, I got a summary of my stress and recovery balance, the health effects of physical activity, and the restorative effect sleep had on me. This data is already a great starting point, and you can tell a lot from it already, but it can be a bit overwhelming, like, okay, great, now what? So sitting with Lika, my coach, she reviewed a well-being survey as well as my health goals, and noted that while I was getting a good amount of sleep, I had frequent spikes in my stress response during sleep, and it wasn't only while the cats were meowing in the mornings. You can see the first few hours sleep being affected by this. This was also reflected in my survey answers, where I feel like my sleep quality isn't optimum, and that's why I often wake up feeling exhausted. The good news is, in my case, I'm able to transition between stress and relaxation responses pretty quickly throughout the day, and this is ideally something to aim for, being able to go through red and green throughout the day. So how am I going to improve my sleep quality in order to wake up feeling more rested? A large part of my issue is I drink a lot before I sleep, a calming tea before bedtime, or sometimes I realize I don't drink enough water throughout the day and then I get thirsty in the evening, which then leads to me peeing a lot in the middle of the night, TMI. So in my case, I need to hydrate more throughout the day and drink less at night. I also feel like I need to stick to more regular bedtimes because I can go to bed anytime between 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. So my circadian rhythm hasn't really found its rhythm yet. Final thoughts. Would I recommend this? Wholeheartedly, yes. It's pretty cool having the graphs for every day laid out in front of you because the data doesn't lie. On one hand, we can rely too much on data where we start to become robots, rather than checking in with ourselves and asking, what do I need in this moment? We rely on an app to tell us that, which is problematic. But on the other hand, it can be a good reminder to tell us that, hey, you're a little stressed and you need to slow down right now. And how often do we actually do this? I know I have a tendency to keep pushing myself. Just 5 minutes more. I'll just do this little thing and it won't be long. So in a weird reverse psychology kind of way, seeing the data has allowed me to give myself that permission to rest. This is something I've been working on, and if you've been following this channel, you'll remember that last year's intention I set was to find rest. I have to intentionally give myself rest. And it was a struggle. And then that became this year's intention to create space so that I can find rest. And I'm still working on it. So this has been a super helpful exercise. I'm currently in a rabbit hole of finding the perfect daily wearable tracker. Is the Apple Watch enough? What about the Aura Ring, Polar or Garmin bands? I mean, you can really go overboard with this stuff. What do you think? To track or not to track? And if you track your HRV, which app or wearable do you use and recommend? Let me know in the comments below. One thing though, I have to admit, this 4-day tracking period is when I was between projects, so I had a lot more downtime in my day. And that's not really indicative of my usual work day and work week when I'm slammed in the middle of a production. So I would be really curious to track my stress versus relaxation and energy levels when I'm actually slammed in the middle of a production with high stress, lack of sleep, and being thrown out of routine completely. Would you want to watch that video? Let me know too. If you enjoyed this, you might like my free workbook to help you create more time in your busy day to do the things you love. I'll put the download link in the description below. What does living a mindful life look like to you? I'll show you what it means to me in this video. Or YouTube things you might enjoy this video too. I hope they help you find more grace, ease, and flow in your busy life, and I'll see you in the next one.